I just booked a co-writing session, which means that tomorrow somebody's gonna be coming here to write a song with me. But there's just one problem. I just tore my entire studio apart.
What have I done?
So I picked a terrible time to up and migrate all of my gear into the garage studio for the summer, because now I have less than 24 hours to get it all up and running so that I can actually have this session. Why do I do this to myself? Right now it is a complete disaster. I've been shooting gong videos, so I've got Nerf guns and bullets everywhere. So first I gotta clean this shit up so that we're not writing a song in a war zone. When I initially built this studio, the point was that it would be as flexible as I could possibly make it. And I did that, I accomplished that. But the problem with flexible is that for every new video, I have to completely tear down and set up. And that's not really conducive to making videos quickly, you know what I mean? I might get inspired and have an idea, and then by the time I'm done setting it up, I'm too exhausted to even shoot the thing. So that was the thinking behind having the second room. The idea was that it was just incredibly easy to sit down and shoot with basically one button. Actually, I had the whole thing on a voice command. But I also realized that just because I have something set up in a way that makes it easier for me to make videos doesn't mean that I'm actually going to do it. I really do love having that setup. But it's summer now, and it gets kind of hot in there, and the only thing that I have is the window AC unit, and it's really loud. This room is just way more comfortable. It's also really great to be surrounded by my awesome toys again. I have like a reasonably good idea of what we're gonna need, but how do you prepare for the unpreparable? Unpreparable. If you can believe it, I have actually not done a ton of like co-writing. I have done a lot of song collabs of different kinds, but very rarely have I written with another person in the room. It's actually kind of a symptom of being a perfectionist. It might seem like a good thing, but it is actually my biggest weakness and the thing that holds me back the most. So this summer, I'm gonna try kind of a hybrid approach between pretty good optimization and a little bit flying by the seat of my pants. What else am I gonna need? Oh yeah, you're coming with me. And you. So this is not a new piece of gear, but it's something that I have not properly integrated into my setup at all. This is the Cranbourne Audio ADAT 500. 500 ADAT maybe? If you don't know what 500 series gear is, I suggest you go look it up, because for smaller studios like mine, these are a great way to get a bunch of awesome analog gear in a small space, and it's modular. I love modular stuff so much. Well, Trey, if you love it so much, why are there only 2 modules in there? And it's because I've been consciously avoiding going down that rabbit hole. Basically anything that you can get as a full rack mount thing, you can get as a little slot that goes in here. I'm also gonna put it in a place that it's gonna be easier to use, so. Let's get it out. Oh, I'm bouncing it around. A keyboard may not be the sexiest piece of studio gear, but it's the one that you got your hands on the most, so it's pretty important that you get a good one. I've used these Microsoft ergonomic keyboards for a really long time, and they're not very expensive, and they work great. They're very comfortable, but this is the first wireless one that I've gotten. I wanna be able to hit record and play from anywhere in the studio, so hopefully this is gonna let me be able to do that. A little separate numpad. Right now what I'm gonna do is set up the microphone, the LCT1040, which is in the other room right now, and I'm gonna put it on one of these so that we can kind of just swing it in and out when we gotta record some vocals. Yeah, you like that action? This mic is no joke. This is the controller and the power supply. Just for a second, bro. Just hang out for a second. So this is my vocal mic. I have others, but this is the one that I'm using now. Comes apart into 2 pieces so that you can control it remotely. What the heck? If you saw my video about how to layer vocals, then you saw this thing at work. I think if I walked into this space like 5 years ago, I would feel incredible envy of whoever's spot it was. And now it's mine. Is it possible to be jealous of yourself? I've been watching too much Doctor Who, so how do I get me to walk through that door and go like, whoa? I put the drums right here, which I actually think is a pretty genius move. Oh, I need to do a drum thing. I can just do this. And I'm jamming. I feel like that's gonna work pretty well. I think the place that you create has a huge impact on what you create. So surrounding yourself with as much cool and inspirational stuff as you can is ideal. For me, that involves removing all of the barriers to creation that I can. So more than anything, what I've done here is just make it as smooth as possible to get the ideas from my brain into the DAW. So I did it, I pulled it off. This place is now ready to do some songwriting. But first I'm gonna show you what each of the pieces of gear that I'm using do and why I have them. This is all the stuff that I use to write songs. In spite of the fact that I am a very, very mediocre keyboardist of any kind, you will see that I have 2 keyboards. One of the reasons is that this is like a piano fully weighted keyboard. This is the RD64 by Roland. They don't make this anymore. I do not know why. It's the only 64 key fully weighted MIDI controller, as far as I know, that's ever been manufactured. I have absolutely no need for 88 keys, so I wanted something compact, but I also wanted the feeling of a fully weighted keyboard, so I had to have it. And then this is a Native Instruments 25 key MIDI controller. I can't remember what it's called. This is an A25. Realistically, this is the number of keys that I can actually work with, but the reason that I got this one was because the keys feel amazing. It would be a lot cooler if it had built-in pads, but that's why I got this, which is the iRig pads. This desk actually belongs to my landlord, and it was here when I moved in. My landlord bought it from a composer that he used to work for who was retiring, and boy, oh boy, did I luck out moving in here or what? This keyboard tray, which puts the computer keyboard in an extremely nice ergonomic position, but also you can get it out of the way and still be able to reach your piano keyboard. Right now the piano is also holding up my mic. This over here is something new that I'm trying out. This is the Audio Imperia Fade, and it's just 4 assignable fader controllers. This sort of thing is what composers will use all the time to control different parameters of virtual instruments in real time, and that's something that keeps virtual instruments from sounding lifeless and stale. Basically, you use this to impart more realism and drama into each individual instrument. Doing it like this is way more intuitive and natural than using a mouse to draw in all of those automations. This is my drum kit. It's a Roland TD27KV. I love this kit so much. It's so much fun to play. I use it almost exclusively to input MIDI into Pro Tools. I mainly use the built-in sounds when I am just jamming for fun, and I put it through this little orange amp right here. I really encourage anyone to pick up the drums and play even just a little bit. It's okay if you're not good at it. It's super fun and it'll make you a better songwriter. The monitors that I use are the Focal Trio 6BEs, and they are just incredible. Having amazing monitors is a little bit of a luxury because in terms of writing, you can get away with anything, even just a pair of headphones. But more than anything else, what I need them for is monitoring mixes that I get back from my mix engineer. I also have these amazing Focal headphones. These are the Listen Pro. These are my main cans. They're also quite fashionable. The interface that I'm using is the Apollo X8P. I have many Universal Audio Apollo interfaces. How many Universal Audio interfaces does one man need? I submit to you that the number is 4. And aside from the reason that they're just great, they work together. So I can use this one and that one at the same time. The reason that I wanted this one, even though it is kind of overkill, I don't need to record 8 inputs at once. I wanted to be able to have everything plugged in all the time. I don't want to be having to swap out inputs and all this stuff. That does not do it for me. So I have all of the stuff plugged in all at once. I've got my DI box. I've got all of these amps plugged in through one thing. So think of the amps as like one. I've got my microphone plugged into one. I've got my synths plugged into one. What is the other thing? And like some other stuff that I can't remember. But point being, I don't have to do any engineering when it comes time to record. I just switch the input and start recording. This is extremely critical to the all over the place way that I write music. I go back and forth a lot. So I need to be able to just, you know what I mean? Was that clear what I meant by... For me, this is an incredibly important piece of gear to have a really good DI. Now, most modern interfaces come with a really great DI built right in. But if I have the option, I like to use something like this. This is a Type 85 DI from Countryman. I've used this one a lot. That's a really great DI box, and it's not very expensive. I almost exclusively always record DIs. I can take my DIs and run them through any of these amps after the fact and get completely different sounds. Up until kind of recently, I was using this Hackintosh tower that Alex built for me. At the time, there were not any really great options for Macintosh, which is what I use. And then along came the M1. So now I'm using this Mac Studio that is pretty pimped out. It's an M1 Ultra with 64 gigs of memory. Go for the higher internal storage if what you're doing is production. The bottleneck of speed can have to do with using external drives. So it's still screaming fast, works great, but if I want to run my projects off of the internal drive, I'm doing a little bit of this kind of thing. So that's pretty new and definitely worth the upgrade. I also have a new MacBook Pro coming that I spent so much money on, I actually had to take a deep breath after I hit order, but I had to get it because I'm going to Gear Street and I'm gonna be writing songs on the spot. I need a powerful production computer. I'm very seriously considering doing sort of the opposite of this, which is writing songs in exotic locations, doing a series of videos on that. So let me know in the comments where you think I should go to write a song. So having an awesome laptop is gonna make that a lot easier. I remember when I first started writing songs and I got myself one of those Tascam 4-track recorders, and I thought I was gonna record an album on that thing. Of course, that was a bit of a pipe dream, but it was incredibly exciting and inspiring to me to be able to layer multiple instruments on top of each other and hear them all at once. And it was around then that I started learning multiple instruments so that I could layer stuff into my songs. It was like I learned drums just so that I could have drums on my terrible little recordings. Same with bass and keys. Fast forward to 25-ish years later, and the 4-track has grown quite a bit, but the concept is exactly the same. I am very excited to be writing some music with other people. Aside from the fact that it's just super fun, I'm also ready to put this studio to the test. I want to see what actually works the way I intended it to make writing easier and smoother, and what just gets in the way. All right, it's time. Wish me luck. Here we go.